night, folks. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. It's May 21st, 2024. Please rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call whenever you're ready.
Nielsen,
Here.
Marble,
Here.
Northway,
Here.
Ferris,
Yes, here.
Van Meter here.
And adoption of the amendment to the agenda. Does anyone have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to add, I'd like to have a motion that we go ahead and, request that our lawyer review the road millage renewal for the November election.
Okay, so you want to add roads under reports?
Well, yeah, right, wherever you
Okay.
want to add.
Yep. Anyone else? Jill?
It'll be real quick, but in order to change the credit card, we have to have a resolution that changes the authorized people.
Do you want
So-
that under financial?
I thought so,
Okay.
and then I just wanna note under reports that we note the aprons for Marquette and Birchwood Terrace were approved, and maybe we could get a hold of them and find out when it's gonna happen.
Okay, that would be under roads?
Yep,
The post payroll resolution for April under financials.
Okay. And there at least 3 pieces of mail that and one came in afterwards. So there's actually a third one there. But are going to be resolutions for answering each of those. At least the Pashi, the Ellsworth, and then Spriggans, I think. So,
And did you get the Jonna Bridges one?
yeah, I think that's the third one I was
Okay.
referring to. So,
Okay.
Bridges, and I think that was added to the website.
that one was.
Yeah, so. Okay, with all those amendments, I move that we accept the agenda as presented and amended. Second,
Support.
all those are discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed. Next, conflict of interest, anyone wish to declare? Let the record show that there's none. Minutes are the first thing on the agenda here to review. I'll go ahead and move that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second unless Judy, the editor, has any changes.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All
So,
right, any other discussion? Then go ahead and, I don't think we need a roll call. I'll just go ahead and say, all those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you. Next, correspondence. We have a resignation from Grant Sala as our enforcement officer. He and Brooke have purchased the ice cream store in Honors, you may know, so they're gonna be busy with that.
yeah.
The next one is a resignation from Mike Pashi. Is that in your packets?
Yes.
He has served well and long at the planning commission, so we'll be looking for a replacement for him and thanking him. Ellsworth, Abby is here and she's volunteered to start we've never really had one. We had somebody who started one, then he quickly moved away, but the environment committee. So Abby will be talking about you in a little bit. And then there was something from a Joanna Bridges. And she's on Linden. So did everybody see that? She was asking about roads and so forth down in her area. Okay, anyone have any other comments about this correspondence?
Because I'm new at this,
Yeah,
how do you handle something like Joanna that wants action to be taken?
well, I'm gonna assign that to the people of the roads committee when we get to it.
All right.
So, next, guest, we have Brooke Pock back as the manager of the airport.
Brooke, you wanna take the lead here?
Everyone knows me, I'm Brooke Trentham-Popp, and I'm very excited to be stepping into my role as the airport manager for the Frankfort Memorial Field. Thrilled to be able to bring my experience in government and nonprofit to the team and contribute to the awesome work that they've been doing. I have shared my action plan and the principles and techniques that I'll be using to achieve those goals. The plan is not exhaustive and it has been growing. And if anyone has any suggestions or ideas, please share them with me. I've also provided the airport authority's payment plan for the recent air easement settlement. This is the outstanding work of many people, the majority who were and are volunteers spanning over 20 years. 95% of the bond repayment is covered by government grants, and within the next few weeks, half of the obligation will have been paid. Lastly is the Wingman Challenge. The Wings with Mercy organization is conducting a fundraising campaign, which includes our airport. Pilots are encouraged to procure sponsors, visit as many airports as possible, and raise funds for their excellent organization. I strongly encourage support for their efforts. Does anyone have any questions about what I have presented?
Yes,
Yeah.
on your numbers chart. The last line there, is that supposed to be 2031 instead of 1931? Right above where it says total. On the left side.
I'm sure it is. Oh, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes. I can see that.
And my comment, at some point, I'd like to understand this, but I'll contact you and make an appointment and come.
I do have information on, so you'll see the, like AIP and bill. So those are, so AIP is the, airport improvement program. We get grants from them almost every year. Bill is the, let me see if I can find it here. And you can Google a lot of this information. But it's the, this bipartisan infrastructure law. And that was enacted in November of 2021. So basically, it includes transportation, clean energy, public transit, broadband, things like that.
Okay,
So our airport qualified for grants under that for this.
they're big numbers. I'd just like to understand it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So both of those are grant monies that come in
Yes.
from both of us.
Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity. We do have a website now, frankfortmemorial.com. It is a work in process, but there is a lot of good information on there so far.
looks a lot better.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brooke.
Mhm.
Next would be County Commission.
County Commissioner Karen Cunningham, I emailed my report to you ahead of time, I believe, you should have had that. I believe it will be posted online. Already is, okay. So I'm just going to highlight, a couple of things, if that's okay. One of them, on 14 May, the Board of Commission had 12 action items that, and I highlighted one of them because it was about the Headley Amendment and having that on the ballot, and they have agreed to have it on the ballot. And the wordage is clear now. And what it will say is if passed, the millage would remain the same and would offer a 2-year timeline where they might change or address it at that point in time, but for the next 2 years, it would remain the same. That is a huge improvement since it hasn't been addressed for 3 decades.
Wow.
And so they did put a timeline on it.
Were
So
you surprised that the committee didn't recommend to do it?
Karen or the commissioner?
Well, the commissioner.
Okay, yes, I was a little bit.
I was shocked at the
So,
meeting when they said,
Yeah, I was.
I thought that we were gonna
But to have it as a 2-year, to have a duration and a limitation on it, that is huge progress instead of just letting it sit for since
Another
the
3
last
decades.
century.
Okay.
Okay, so for that I was happy. The other thing is in District 3, which is our district here, I did receive several phone calls and a couple of emails. People that read the BOC minutes and said, why are you voting against the Commission on Aging? We weren't. We asked for more information because usually they give us reports for Commission on Aging are very thorough. Mr. Duran, Director Duran gives very thorough reports and keeps us updated. So that will be on the August ballot. We have quite a few millages coming up between August and also the November. So we're trying to divide, so it's not all on one ballot. So that one will be up on, and as you know, that one will be up on the August one, and then NMC, and then there's a plethora of different millages, sheriff department and things like that. So trying to divide that up and make it a little more even, so voters don't have sticker shock when you're in there and just kind of go on that. So those were 2 important things. We have a new community impact document, and I dropped some
There's a
off.
bunch here.
There they are. It is also on the website, and I believe I emailed you guys, so you can email it out to people. So you have the PDF file on this. And this basically goes through how much money for Parks and Rec, broadband, childcare. It gives a breakdown in black and white so people can see where the money went. And it's a 2-sided, so I have that for you. I am on the EDC, new to it. I've been to 2 meetings, will be, 3 now. And there was a merit presentation about a digital pilot of which Benzie County is part of. Merit is a company in basically the Ann Arbor area that does education research and service research. So they were hired as, for lack of a better term, a facilitator for helping us drill down and identify goals and timelines and things. And I'm happy to say that the digital pilot for the Benzie County, we are one of 3 counties in the state that is really singled out for doing a good job at this. And Grow Benzie was there and explained that it is community driven, and Grow Benzie is serving on that committee. They will be focusing on creating a template for certain needs. And as an example, this isn't the only thing, but as an example, a template on how to give digital information via the website on phone-in healthcare or something like that. And also they're going to focus on education. So how do you use this as the public? So it should be very well thought out. And like I said, we're one of 3 counties and the state that is really, we're kind of being a template for other counties to follow. So that's a good thing. And we're like that in land trust too here. So we're doing a lot of good things in this county here. Sherry Capital also did a presentation. In several of my reports, I said they were with Tim Malone. They were going to be doing a beta test so that citizens could put in their address and find out, when is fiber coming to my address? There's not there yet. That was an early hoping that they were going to get that done sooner. They're still working on some kinks. So I just wanted to update because I know I've mentioned that several times, that we thought we were on the crux of it happening and it really hasn't. So that's belated information there. The EDC June topic is going to be really looking at that grant writer for helping to guide economic development here in the county, but it's going to be up for discussion. There's Parks and Rec information, all kinds of things. We'll see. I think Karen on the commission thinks it needs to be drilled down and more specific. So you don't have a grant writer that's pulling their hair out and not able to. I don't want to set them up for failure. I want them to be successful, act, get, and go. So, and through reading the EDC, it's very important to us. I've lived in communities where rampant expansion has happened. In Phoenix, in the Detroit area, or wherever, these different places I've lived, the Philippines, but we won't talk about that. When it happens without planning or without guidance or foresight, it's doesn't usually work out for the best. So I went back and read the plan, and the EDC action plan was the one that's posted is 10 years old. And so we will be looking at that, but I found it very interesting that the top 3 concerns have remained consistent. So as a county, we still have that vision, even though there maybe hasn't been action on it. And that was, the 3 top concerns were critical infrastructure. And we are working on that as a master plan right now in the county. The emphasis, because I was the one that spoke up, our number 1 focus should be water. All different aspects of water, because that's what we are. But we'll see what evolves with that, and nobody kicked back on me. That would include addressing sewers, invasive species, anything that deals with water. So I had that. So that was one of the top critical infrastructure. And I really want us focusing on infrastructure for us. Natural gas, or what I learned when I was going around from door to door, natural gas, sewer system, all these different things for infrastructure. So we're doing the best we can and creating jobs that money is coming in for this right now. So let's leverage what's available. Serving the community to accommodate long-term growth and prosperity. Encourage skilled trades. These are from 10 years ago, still the same. So I think this is our focus. Number 3, develop new opportunities related to value-added agriculture and agritourism, especially for small farms and entrepreneurs. It has been kicked around since I've been at the EDC that one of the things that 2 of the members really were focusing on was, what did they call it? It was like strip malls and things like this. It wasn't agribusiness and who we are as Benzie. And so I have been pushing back pretty hard on that. And then looking at our documents in the past, it supported what I was hearing from various farmers and grow Benzie entrepreneurs and all these things. So it really supported that. So it's an important committee. It is not a dead committee. And the phases, it's in phases. They said, identify the goals, tactics to develop, and implement strategies. So EDC is made publicly attended. It's at 9 in the morning, once a month. So if you're working regular hours, not the best time, but Anyways, but what I found by being on a lot of different committees and being a board of commissioners, that the county, downtown development, EDC, the business, escalator, incubator that they're talking about. All of us are all working. We just need to communicate with one another. And you having the owl is huge communication for people hearing you. So I want to say hats off to you for getting that done. The last thing that I'll bring up is definitely on the lighter side. The dog park is open in Frankfort. And my little Blossom went, she christened it and approves.
Okay.
So if there are any questions from you, I know that was long-winded, but please do look at this.
It's excellent.
This is just really easy for the public and everything. I know I'm addressing you guys. But hopefully it's, you know, some clarity and you feel better. We're working hard at building trust and transparency. So.
Any other questions for
questions?
Karen?
It was great.
Sandra has.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
With the NMC millage proposal coming up, it's gonna dump about $3.2 million into the pockets of the college passing. If you take the number of students currently at NMC and
Mhm.
figure out the difference in the value, that cost for them is about 326 million. Wait, 326,000, leaving 3 million in the pocket of NMC. Has the county commissioners discussed any type of program where we as a county would help our own students, other than donating a whole bunch of money to NMC?
I like your question. I appreciate that. No, it has not been discussed. It is only putting it on the ballot for vote. And I know we're on OWL right now, but we were NMC's, or we were kind of their, for lack of a better term, we were kind of their guinea pig for.
It's just a really lot of money.
It really is.
No return on the investment. for
Uh,
that.
No, yes, and I don't vote as Karen, I vote as commissioner, and it has changed drastically from what people were saying in favor of it
Right.
in the very beginning, and I've gone to at least 5 of those meetings and watched the attitudes or the information evolve and people's understanding deepen. And from District 3, from what I'm hearing, most are not in favor of it, and that idea which you brought
Most
up.
people ran the numbers, it was like,
Correct.
wait a minute.
But it's up for the voter to decide. We each have one vote. And but it is great.
Commissioners would ever county develop a program for students.
You know what? That would be a great study session question for the commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, and others have brought that up to me too.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that, but thank you.
Thank you, Karen, very much. Fire?
Okay, sit down, that's all you did. I'll talk through all your time.
All right, okay, perfect. Couple of things, training, we were over at Crystal Downs and we're gonna be invading your neighborhood next Tuesday. CSA, it's gonna be doing water shuttles and setting up a mock water shuttle and flow rate. So we're gonna see how we can play back in the CSA. As you see, we had 13 fire runs and 46 EMS, breaking it down. Crystal Lake had 6 fire calls and 11 EMS calls. A question was brought up by one of the council members, Dale Charters, asked me, so, well, how do you figure out what kind of training you're doing? You see, I didn't put that in there, but you see, it did wind up in the packet. It says Dale brought up the question. That explains how I come up with training objectives and how they're determined. And what the numbers show, and you see right now, 80% of our calls are EMS calls, and 20% contain our fire runs, and that can be gas leaks, anything in between. One of the things that I'm thrilled to tears about is 4-inch and one was out of service. Every time you see these reports, it was leaky valves, leaky fixed. I have to put water in the truck every two days, so they're it's all repaired and taking a look at I got a summer report from B&B emergency vehicle equipment that's been from January to now, we put $10,000 worth of repairs into those trucks, so it's a lot of money. So one of the things I wanted to point out tonight, watch the news at 11. First, you saw me on the front page paper for some of the things I'm doing with the children. What I'm also working on is I was asked to approach, they're having a summer camp at the elementary school from pre-K to fifth graders. And I was invited to do something about camp safety, fire, safety around camping. So we're gonna talk about campfire safety and the sprinkler, or it's gonna be 2 days before 4th of July. So we'll talk about fireworks safety and things like that to stay away from weed. Drilled down in that presentation I had primarily about bicycle safety and staying away from the water. We don't go to the water alone. You have to go with an adult and don't wander out on the pier. One of the things that I try to push. Another thing that is gonna be on the news tonight at 11 is we had on the 29th of March, there was an employee that collapsed over at Frankfort Manufacturing in a full cardiac arrest. 2 of the employees, so we gave certificates to tonight, immediately started CPR. We were there within 3 minutes, continued the CPR. And by the time we lowered the patient onto the cot and put him in the back of the ambulance, our crew defibrillated twice and brought back a pulse and breathing. So we brought the person alive. So I handed out certificate or little pins to the 3 of our members that did, because this is National EMS Week. And I didn't want to forget those that were involved. One of the things that I read tonight was EMS provides us challenges and rewards. This past month can be summed up with one word: compassion. We helped people up and on their feet. We held a hand and hopefully touched a heart that was hurting. We encouraged some that when we could, and comforted others during their loss. Most of all, we shared and embraced each other when the situations we encountered were heart-wrenching and words were hard to come by. But together we knew, because we've been there before. You celebrate the wins, you mourn the losses, and then you move on. That's what we do.
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody have a question for him?
Love what you do.
What station? 9 and 10 or 7?
7 and 4. 7 and 4 was there, and then Colin's gonna put something else, Colin Mary's gonna put something else in the paper on that as well.
And like, were they filming? Was that the crew that was filming at Frankfort City?
Yes,
Okay.
she was interviewing each and every one of them.
Yeah, Nicole, yeah.
All right, we're up to a public comment. If you wish to speak, would you stand and say your name and your address? Any public comment? All right, financials.
Yeah. Huge learning curve. I'm getting there slowly. I did run financials. Every day, Judy and I are getting better at what we're doing. I have training. I do. I have training, extensive training Friday. I hope I can stay focused that long. This will be my first property tax cycle. And that's a big deal. So I have training Friday and doing the best I can. And for the most part, I'm really enjoying it. That's my financial report.
Okay, you have a couple of amendments that you want to take the lead on?
I do. I feel that the day I accepted this job was the day that I kind of hit recycle on anything that had happened prior. And that's hard to do if there's a lot of history and a lot of things that go on. And I want to make sure that everybody that comes to this meeting knows we're board members and we're not always going to agree, and that's okay. But one thing I want to put forward tonight And I'll just read the resolution and it kind of speaks for itself. Former Treasurer Brooke Popp has provided volunteer support, assistance, and training primarily for Clerk Van Meter. Ms. Popp has taken phone calls, offered guidance to me when I called and went, oh my God, I just spent 3 days trying to reconcile and why isn't it working? Ms. Popp gave assistance to Clerk Van Meter, ensuring Crystal Lake Township April payroll was completed timely. Ms. Popp also was helping with May payroll. And along with Clerk Van Meter administered fiscal year ending March 31st. She's offered to assist and prep and attend our audit. The board voted to allow that to happen. She left in April. Our fiscal year begins in April, so she really was last year's fiscal. Me trying to step up and talk to the auditors about something that I had nothing to do with. We will be here for the whole 2 days, but I think it's important that she's here anyway. Ms. Popp has not requested compensation for any assistance offered or accepted. And I think all of us appreciate it, especially Judy and I. The Crystal Lake Township Board hereby approved 6 hours for payroll assistance and up to 18 hours for audit assistance at the rate of $27 per hour. Actual hours worked per task may be adjusted. Brooke hasn't asked. She hasn't approached either one of us about being compensated, and she has taken phone calls and been very gracious in helping me and Judy. So we're not talking a lot of money here, and I'm requesting that the board approve this, and it's open to discussion.
You're up to how many hours so far?
Oh, she is, I'm asking the board for what?
24 hours.
24 hours. I would say it's been twice that at least that she has assisted in coming in here. She has not processed payroll. She has not touched Judy's computer. She has assisted. And I just think compensating her for this work alone is not out of the question. Discussion?
Do you want a second?
Oh,
I'll second it.
Okay,
sorry about that.
no discussion?
I don't know, it's up to you.
Okay,
Everyone else.
Ames, Bill,
No, it sounds good.
okay. So,
I think that technically it should have been, going back and counting hours beforehand, that it should have been done ahead of time.
okay,
So I would vote for a set amount as something sort of as a token of our appreciation. But saying that the 6 hours, or she's done twice that already and so forth, I'd probably prefer, if I were doing it, to do a set amount, like say $500 token for thanking, for helping us.
okay, and where
Because
are we?
arbitrarily you set the $27, how did you get that?
Because that's what we pay our deputy clerk. And I thought Brooke's knowledge and years of being a treasurer, she should at least be paid what Sandra's being paid. I mean, if we called somebody in to do payroll, or we called somebody in to do this, they probably want more than $27 an hour. So that I just,
Yeah,
so I just picked it because that's what we're paying Sandra. So at $27 an hour for 24 hours.
which is about $700.
Okay. So that's my proposal.
Any further discussion? Okay, everyone ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Northway,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes. Yes.
Marble,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
All right, that resolution is carried. Next resolution that you're in charge of? Maybe,
It's not me.
no,
I think it's Judy,
you're the visa person?
oh, is that next? I had groundskeeper.
It's okay, I just thought we were.
Yeah, this one's super easy, so
Yeah.
I'll do my we need to change, the township has a credit card, and right now Brooke's name's still on it, and in order for the credit card company, as we all know, to do anything, they want something in writing. So I am saying, whereas Crystal Lake Township adopted a credit card debit card policy on April 19th, 2022. Whereas former treasurer Brooke Popp's name still appears on the Crystal Lake Township West Shore Bank Visa, Ms. Popp's name also remains the authorized user. Therefore, be it resolved that Brooke Popp's name be removed from the township Visa account. Treasurer Jill Marble's name will be reflected on the township Visa card. Judy Van Meter clerk and Jill Marble treasurer will be co-authorized account representatives.
So moved by,
So moved. I move.
second,
I'll second it.
all right, and any discussion?
Just that it wasn't April 19th of 2022, it's probably 2023.
No, it was 22.
But I wasn't in office yet and I redid the credit card policy.
Maybe it got redone. I thought it looked it up.
No, I did it since
Okay.
I've been in office.
Okay. We'll look. And we will adjust that date.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, you might say, shall we approve this, with
With
the
somebody-
amended date?
With
if
the
it's-
amended correct date.
Okay,
Okay.
roll call when you're ready?
Van Meter, yes. Marble,
Yes.
Northway,
I support it, yes.
Nielsen,
Yes,
Ferris.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so any other ones you're in charge of?
I'm in charge of, but it's not financial. It's changing the meeting dates.
Okay, and I think there is a groundskeeper contract amendment just because we don't usually get started with the mowing and so forth in April, but we did this year and he'd like to get paid earlier. So it's just a technicality. So therefore is that the groundskeeping contract will be amended to read that the clerk may start giving him payroll in equal increments starting in April if work commenced in April. And this is like going forward, so.
It's a 3-year contract. So the date there, the 2024, you have to 2028.
Yeah, it'll be amended throughout, like next year, if we have snow all the way through April, probably not, but then it would be an equal increment starting in May, when he does get started in the next couple of years.
I know it is a 3-year contract, so should
Did
it be 27 instead?
Oh,
of
27. Oh, I see what you mean,
Thank God
yes,
you're here.
thank you. I see what you mean, with that amended, yeah. I so move. Any seconds?
I'll second it.
And any discussion? Call roll call, please.
Nielsen,
yes,
Ferris,
Yes.
Marble,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
Thank you for that. Resolution is carried. The next one I'm in charge of is the general budget amendment. And we had only, when we originally did the budget, so much money for training. And our dear little Miss Marble needs more.
I need lots more training.
So therefore, this resolution, it authorizes the following budget amendment to properly account for revenues and expenditures required by the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act. And so we will appropriate an additional $2,000 to the already adopted $500 for a total of $2,500 to help train Joe.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna go and move that. Do I have a second?
I second it. Let's all second it.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, in the second line,
Oh, here we go. What do we do?
the date,
The second one?
including isn't it this year's?
Oh, yeah, the two. Oh, no, wait a minute. Where are you talking about?
Where it says,
The training line?
we passed, no, up at the top,
In the act,
passed a general appropriations act for all funds, including the.
Oh, and it should be
22.
23, should be 24, 25. Oh, my gosh.
We're gonna get one right tonight.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
promise.
That with that amended.
Okay. Just
Roll call when you're ready.
Nielsen,
yes,
Marble,
Absolutely.
Northway,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
All right, that motion is carried. What else are we lacking here? Payroll,
Yeah, the payroll expenditures.
you wanna take that?
Yep.
And the warrant report.
Yep. There's a resolution for the approval of the April 2024 post-audit payroll expenditures. Now therefore be it resolved, the Crystal Lake Township Board approves payment of salaries and wages per the attached Crystal Lake Township payroll summary report for April 2024 with a total of $17,307.45. I so move.
I'll second. I think I got paid for the cemetery for this month. Did I get paid last month?
Yes,
Okay,
the April one was a separate check,
okay.
and then the May one, does she have her May check yet? Has it on with your salary?
Okay, sounds good.
If not, let me know, but that's what I
Okay.
did.
Sounds
Don't
good.
trust us with your money.
Any other questions or comments?
We need a second.
I second it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Roll call then.
Ferris,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes, Marble.
Yes.
Okay, the warrant report has been edited a couple of times. Because I found out that the groundskeeper started in April, and I only have 1 month on here, I wanted April and May on here. So that figure for Crystal Clear Landscaping has changed to $5,657.14. I added $158.24 for the
Flags.
order from Kalamazoo Flag. And a Bayside printing bill for $38.04. So it's being adjusted, the general fund is being adjusted by $3,024.85 for a total of $17,064.25. The cemetery fund total is $57.54, and there were no bills for fire and road. And just a side note, it was the end of our budget year for DTE, and we didn't use as much gas. So we had a credit balance, and the coming year, instead of $100 for a monthly budget payment, it's gonna be $89.
That's because Jill never turns on the heat.
That's exactly right.
Judy doesn't either.
Okay,
I do that.
so you so move.
I so move.
Second? I second. Discussion. Roll call when you're ready.
Ferris,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes. Marble,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed. And do you want to comment anything about the audit? Just noting that it's gonna be during those days.
June 5th and 6th, and it starts at 8 AM.
And we will try to carry on some business there, but don't count on it.
They will be spread out all over the place.
All
As they
right.
were last year.
Any other financials at this time?
I don't think so.
All right, moving right on to reports. The airport packet, this is something that I had put together before Brooke asked to be a presenter. So I'm just going to bring up, if you look at my packet, there's about 3 or 4 pages here. It's the first thing that I included is the original thing we voted on back in 2016. At that time, we did not have what they call a momentum of a memorandum of understanding. This is the only thing that we did. We technically have never joined the authority apparently because we never got that legal document done. This is something that Brooke brought up and we've been through several months ago. And that you'll see that therefore is we committed to pay $15,000 for 1 year of an airport administrator. And then also commit another 15,000 for 1 year future funding and so forth. So I'm just letting you know that that's where we are right now, and that there's a lot of work that we need to do as a community and as a board to figure out what our place in the airport authority going forward. If you go through here a little bit, I've been trying to get what the most recent copy of the bylaws are. And Brooke, in her own words, recommended that we look at this part of the bylaws. And I have underlined or put in blue the important things. We had a lot of back and forth about whether the board members and the community members that we send to the airport authority represent us, and they don't. And that's what the blue is. It makes it clear that once you are appointed by one of the members, being Frankfort, the city of Frankfort, the county of Benzie, or the township of Crystal, you go over there and you are now representing the best interests of the airport. They're no longer one of us. They always are to vote in the best interest of the airport. So that's what I want to kind of bring up here at this point. It's at the bottom of the first page under section D, where it makes it shall act in the best interests of the authority rather than the personal self-interest or interests of the constituencies. And then on the back, it goes on to talk quite a bit about a conflict of interest. That even the appearance, they're very strict on conflict of interest. That you are not to be bringing in and doing business with business partners, family, close personal associates. And that you, even disclosing the fact that you have a conflict of interest, the last bullet there, does not in itself remove that conflict of interest. So, where do you want to go going forward? Because we will be asked for more money in the future, so we need to be prepared in what we're going to do. We have been told that in order to get out of the authority, we have to ask to be removed, and they have to approve us leaving the authority. Kind of begs the question, like, are we really a member of the authority? And then if originally, when I talked to the people who voted us to go in, it was understood that it was representing our interests, having it in the middle of our backyard, in the middle of our township. But in fact, they can't, by their bylaws, represent us. So aren't there bylaws under review, or that's what Brooke has said? It's basically the same. I know, but they're under review right now, so wouldn't it be a good idea? They don't have to take it, but we could suggest a couple wording changes that might say supports the objectives of the authority and the community in which they represent.
Oh,
I mean, it's worth throwing out there to see if they'd be receptive to that.
if that's what we want. Is that what we want? That's what I'm asking you. We need to decide as a board where we're going in the future with the airport. And whatever we decide, yes, then we could make, if it's a board decision, to make that recommendation that it say that in the bylaws.
Well, I think this would be a quick, easy, let's make the suggestion, because having a long discussion about the airport isn't gonna happen in like tonight.
No, it's not gonna happen tonight. There's other things tonight too
Right.
that we're bringing up and we're
Right.
saying, yeah.
On the airport, in the past, we always felt that if the township or somebody withdrew, that there might be some financial penalties that the FAA or the state or the feds are gonna put on us. So I think that needs to be part of the conversation if we're contemplating doing anything.
That's true, and we brought this up before. I'll tell you what they said. I'll remind you what they said. And that is in the, I think the state rules. It's not just in their bylaws, it's in the state rules that if we're part of the authority, we're indebted as they got into debt. But they said that also, and again, you'd have to get a legal opinion, that they are the ones that are responsible
the township is not responsible for that lawsuit of 100, what is it, 1,800,000 that they just lost. I was told that is not our responsibility to pay. That is the authority's responsibility
And I
to
think we
pay.
got that in writing, didn't we?
I thought we did, but anyway, it would be more things, as Rick would say, we need that clarified, make sure.
Yeah, I think we need to, we have a new law firm now. I think this airport thing needs to go to a lawyer to find out where are we?
It already did.
It did.
Well, I haven't seen anything. We got some response.
Would you like me to send that to you again?
Pardon?
Would you like me to send that to you?
Yeah, sure.
Some of it was a little vague
Yeah.
and gray and not black and white, like, yes, we are, and no, we aren't.
Yeah, for example, I think one of Brooke's questions, because Brooke is the one who pursued talking to the lawyer about it. And she started with saying something about conflict of interest if she took the job and kept the position here, and didn't he word it like,
It was not
Probably.
definitive.
probably,
I used probably a lot,
yeah, so.
Not definitive.
but I think he did offer an opinion on where the township stands too.
So I'll send you all
But
that.
it also, I think he used probably in that one too.
Do you want this to be something that we discuss in a board meeting? Is it something that we want to have a special meeting about? You want to form a committee and have them bring back recommendations? You want to just blow it off?
I don't wanna blow it off. I think we have a discussion, but maybe on a night when there isn't this many things on the agenda. And I really wanna do some of my own research. And
Should I-
get, and get more read, cause when I got this before, I was sitting in the audience going, airport? No,
So should I put that on the agenda for next,
yes, I will come
And
more,
then
I'll
try to-
come more prepared.
and then maybe,
With me?
Do I wanna be a committee with you? I would love to be a committee with you.
I would love that you volunteer to be a committee. And then maybe you also work with our committee representative sitting back there, Mr. Skinner.
Yes, let's do it. All right, we're a committee. Okay.
On that, could they get a clarification, because everyone keeps saying it's a gray area, on liability, because there's a whole lot of skeletons coming out of the closets lately. And who's gonna be holding the purse strings when that hits the fan?
Okay, we're gonna make up an agenda with you guys. David, what do you think? You're open for that?
Sure.
Abby?
I also feel like maybe timeline, you might need to clarify timeline on bylaw changes and things like that. You don't want them to close the language before you have a chance to present something.
Okay, that's good.
That's a good idea.
So at this point, we have 3 committee members. Anybody else want to suggest something, or someone want to volunteer?
And I think if we could put something together that is a timeline that shows how we started, where we got here, how it's moved on, that would help me a lot.
I can help with that.
I know you can.
Thank you. Okay, so we put the airport to bed at this point.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving on, HVAC, maybe for buildings and grounds. Our guy just walked in on the
Yeah,
perfect timing.
This building is built in 1945, and I think the furnace that's down there is probably the second furnace that it's ever had.
It is.
It is a late 80s, maybe early 90s, high efficiency furnace. And what's happening is the cabinet's starting to rust out pretty bad. There's water that accumulates in the floor underneath it, it's rusting. We had it serviced last fall. The technician said, this is, I think, your last year on this furnace. You guys need to upgrade. So we've gone to, we've got 4 bids from different HVAC contractors around the county. And we'll be selecting a supplier based on, a contractor, based on the equipment that they sell, the service that they offer and the timeline to install. So we'd like to get that done. We're gonna do an air conditioner too. You might know this tonight. It's a little stuffy in here. We have a window air conditioner that we usually install in the summertime. It's not very efficient, not very effective. So we want to replace the window air conditioner with a central air conditioning system.
And we're getting old, hauling that thing up.
Good.
Yeah, so, a resolution in front of you. That therefore says that the Crystal Lake Township Board agrees to purchase and install, agrees to the purchase and the installation of a high efficiency heating and air conditioning system for the township not to exceed $12,000. Big price tag.
So who's moving it? You?
I'm moving it, I guess.
Support.
Support, thank you. Any discussion?
Only that Brian's done a huge job of researching it. Yes, sir.
Just one reminder that underneath the existing HVAC unit are asbestos tile.
Yeah,
And then asbestos in the wall panels behind
yeah,
it.
it's asbestos glue that holds some insulation on the wall. We're very careful not to disturb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, just so you're aware of that.
Thanks, Tom.
What sort of timeline are you looking at?
Well, I notified the contractor probably late this week, late next week, and then we want the plants to get it installed, probably no more than a month or so.
Okay, so we'd have air conditioning for the election.
Oh, we can delay that, save electric. You just said energy bills went down by $18.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ferris,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes, Marble.
Yes.
Thank you. That resolution has passed. Thank you for the work, Brian. Next thing, the recycling bins for the township.
Let me explain that.
Yep,
Okay. We do, 2 cleanup day events every summer. We do one in May and we do one in August. And we always offer metal recycling at the cleanup day events. Well, this year what happened was, Padnox is the company that does the recycling for us in Traverse City. They assessed a $400 transportation charge to get the 90-yard bin down to Graceland in town. So what that does to our recycling guy is that it takes all the profit out of it for him. There's no any initiative for him to offer the service for it.
That's on top of the 250 also.
It's on top of the 250,
So almost
that's the
650.
charge for the bin itself. So you got the bin and then transportation. And he's not making any money, so he's got an agreement with some other townships in the county where the township funds the transportation, he provides the service. So it would cost us $800 for the 2 events. The alternative is that we have to bring in a 3rd truck. Right now, we have 2 disposal trucks. We have a rear loader, a front loader. It's about 60-some yards of space in those 2 trucks. If we were to get rid of the bin, the 90-yard bin, we've probably got a minimum 1, maybe 2 more disposal trucks we have to bring in at a cost that's probably 10 times that of the transportation for the recycling bins.
hence the resolution that is asking for us to make up the difference.
Yep.
So resolve that the Crystal Lake Township agrees to fund the increase in recycling bin transportation costs for the 2 cleanup day events at a cost of $800 for this year. I'll go ahead and move that.
I'll second.
Any other discussion, questions? Roll call when you're ready.
Northway,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Marble,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
Okay, that resolution is passed. You've got a packet here and it's bringing up an old subject. I'm calling it Lot 35 because that's what it is on South Shore. Long time ago, a guy said, my land is the small little stretch of sand and so forth down at the flat. And then it goes straight up and I don't like paying taxes on that. So I'm gonna give you back that parcel to you, the township. And for some reason, years and years ago in the 60s, the township board at that time accepted it back. So we own this piece of land straight up. We talked about it quite a bit. And said, why don't we sell it? It's no good to us. It's a source of liability for us.
Okay.
So that's coming up again. One of the things we decided to do as a board a long time ago was to get a survey of it so that we knew what we were talking about. You were concerned, is it a building site up there that we could sell, you know, all that good stuff. So in front of you, and you've probably all prepared and read this, is the fact that we didn't pay for a full survey. The guy recommended we not pay for a full survey, but no, there's no nice building site. And he agrees, and this is his cover letter somewhere in here, that he recommends that this is not something the board wants to keep. So we're opening this up for discussion again. We can think about this. Nobody prepared a resolution to say that we should sell this. We did have both the landowner down at the bottom and another guy, landowner at the top with this piece of property in between, they both expressed interest in buying it.
Okay, let's sell
Oh, that'll go on tax roll then.
It would, and what we're trying to do is ask you as a board, what would you like to do tonight? Do you wanna come back at the next board meeting and I'll have us give a little time to think about this some more?
When we discussed this earlier, I thought the motion was made to sell it, but I don't know where it went from there.
I was pushing to sell it, had a resolution, it was voted down. 3-2. We could do a resolution that just says, we can appoint somebody
it. Yeah.
like Brian.
Let's do a motion and we say, let's sell it.
Well, or that Brian talks to see if there's buyers still out there, what the appraisal
Okay.
for the plot should be.
And come back at the next meeting with a
Okay.
resolution.
What do you think, Brian? You volunteer for that, baby?
Get it appraised for now and then talk to the potential buyers.
All right, so can we just move that without a resolution at this point? We
Yes.
put him in charge and you're coming back with a proposal in June.
For
Is
big
that
money.
okay?
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Moving right along. Oh, also in that packet, I think was the indication from one of the lot owners, so you can see how much they were offering several years ago. Cemetery, there's a couple of things. I want to thank the high school volunteers and the chaperones. They came out and worked in the cemetery. The water got turned on and our guy immediately ran, it was first time mowing, ran over a spigot. So we don't have any water at North right now. And supposedly it's going to get fixed by Thursday. So I tell you about that. We do have some complaints about people who think that there are different rules for different people. Because when I say this is a rule, you can't have that, then they find another section of the cemetery that has that. It's very difficult, as you know, it's an emotional subject. We've got somebody who lost a family member and to this day is still fighting us about what she thinks she owns the land and she doesn't. So I'm just kind of getting a little feel from the board about, we know we've had people in here upset and so forth. Are we still on board with having the rules as it's been written since 2014? That there's certain things that aren't allowed.
That's how long that ordinance that the committee worked on? Wow, time flies. You guys worked really hard on that. I don't see any reason to change it.
So, just kind of a
Okay.
consensus, little nods of your head, say, yes, we're still on the same page for that. That what I have?
Yes, it's a nod.
And then the last thing is, we've had a provision in the ordinance that says, if you wanna sell your lots back to us, we will pay you minus a $25 administration fee, what your family paid for it. Well, for example, somebody in 1960 bought a square, it's a 16-foot square. There are 8 plots within that 16 by 16 square for $60. Right now, that would be selling for about $24,000. So when they're offering to sell it back, but they say, I'm only gonna get back $40, I'm wondering, do we wanna approach this knowing that to build more space in the cemetery would not behoove our bottom line? Should we be offering a little bit more incentive, like if you're never gonna use these things, could you please sell them back to us and it'll be at. So you don't have to decide tonight, but I thought I would bring it up.
Do you have an idea?
No,
Okay, would you put an idea together? And bring it to us next time? I think it makes sense not to develop more land if we can buy what's already there back and be more fair than $60.
yeah,
Okay, I think it's a good idea.
Any other comments?
But I need more information.
Yeah, numbers.
I have no idea what formula I would use.
I know.
Because there's somebody, of course, over here that's, paid $2 back in the 1800s. So how do
How
I,
many of these are we talking about?
well, already we've bought back probably, 8 different families in 13 years that I've been working this. And we've held steady to, you only get back what your family or your grandparents paid.
Okay.
But this was just something I started thinking about. Now that it costs $2,000 for a 8x4 piece of property to bury your loved ones in, it's a lot different than $60 for 8 of those. So I'll bring back some proposal.
Okay, super.
Sounds good. Okay, moving on. Blight. This is one of the bigger things that we can discuss tonight. I don't know if anybody's had the time to look over. We made a concerted effort to go to the lawyer and say, we want a new blight or a cleaned up version. I thought they would come back with a template, like, the big lawyers that we hired, they go into here's our recommended blight. But what they did is they took ours and they just corrected it.
You got a court appointed attorney.
A court appointed? I went through it, and if we are wanting to update this right tonight, I think that everything that she or he corrected is good. I would only have a question on page 2 that we could talk about. Every place I went, yeah, that's good. It's better written, yeah.
I liked that he removed items that are classic or antique, kept or collected for antique or collectible. He got rid of that, and I liked that because that gave a little wiggle room on.
That was the only thing I was gonna bring up is we'll probably bring out some people.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's, your neighbor's primary thing is antiquism.
Yeah,
Well, I think I like that it got removed.
I have a comment on something else.
Okay, go.
let's hear it.
It's the redone version on page 5. When it talks about the violations of civil infractions.
Mm-hmm.
Section 5.02, any person who violates this ordinance shall be responsible for a municipal civil infraction and subject to the penalties as provided for by ordinance number 2013-0101 regarding municipal civil infractions. To me, I feel like the penalties need to be in here, not sending them to a whole nother ordinance to read. That frustrated me.
I got it.
I think we need some figures and some definite. I don't know, it was a lot of lawyer speak.
I had to get a hold of Tom, because I didn't even know how to find ordinance 2013-0101. And of course, Tom did. Part of, and Tom will have to help me with this. I don't know how much jurisdiction we have, but $100 is the first level of fine. And then we go up to a whopping no less than 200. And the highest amount is 300 plus costs. Do we as a board have any? Or is that state law?
No, that's, it's, practice.
Okay.
I always wanted that at some point, if somebody, because we've run into this before with all different kinds of infractions.
Okay,
If it's not done, does it ultimately go to a tax lien? And you would go into that, so.
say that in a different way.
In other words, we've had somebody come in and, the daughter says, I'll pay you the $100 and I'll have to pay the 200 and then I'll have to pay the 300, but I have no control over my father.
Okay,
And then we all kind of went, yes, sometimes this isn't gonna be the answer to these people. So what ultimately can we do? And then we talked for years about community and suggesting, and we brought people together, the social workers, all that stuff, that didn't work. So do we want it so that if somebody doesn't clean up the junk, we start leaning against their taxes?
Once again, it's enforcement. If
It
it's
is.
fireworks, if it's whatever you're talking, I mean, getting somebody to follow through and get that property improved is our issue.
So if that's something you wanted me to go back to the attorney to and say, what about this? What about the penalties being built in there? Or maybe he's suggesting that every single ordinance we have refer to the enforcement ordinance. And then we've got penalties spelled out there that's maybe perhaps more
I know we're not-
stringent.
I know we're not supposed to, but I wanna call on Tom Sarah.
What do you
He's
recommend?
raising his hand. I wanna hear what he has to say.
I wanna hear what he has to
Well,
say.
when we were discussing, I was discussing with Peter Wengling, going through this and looking at the pines, because he looked at it when we asked him to, and he said that the pines we have are very low. And that needs to be reviewed. Part of the deal with civil infractions is the way they have worked in the past. And the attorney would have to look at something in the future. But you can't enter someone's property, you can't go on private property without their permission, otherwise it's trespassing. So the only way that the township could go onto someone's property to clean it up is if they have a court order. And so the way it works is that you write several civil infractions. And then you then take the matter to court.
Okay,
And of course, when you take it to court, you've involved the attorneys in the courts, getting on the docket and so on and so forth. So I think that we need a room. This was one where I think we need to bring the attorneys up here and talk to them about, how this is handled and whether we are limited to the civil infractions or there is another way to do it. Every seminar that I have been to recommends putting together what they call a violations bureau. And, everything is operated through this quote violations bureau.
that's made up of who?
It was the treasurer.
It was, at one time, we made it fall into the treasurer because it involves collecting money, collecting
Okay.
fines.
See, and then I wondered, because this is a civil infraction, do we have the ability to make it a misdemeanor? At
Excuse
least,
me?
do we, as a board, and we're writing this, do we have the ability to make it a misdemeanor? At least that's got some teeth in it. A civil infraction is nothing.
Right,
Are you saying a number of civil infractions added will eventually lead to a more serious offense? Is that what you were saying
well,
earlier?
no, right now, every day that the violation is in place is a new civil infraction. Okay? And
So
so
100
and so you have to write a new ticket every day.
Wow, okay,
So there's a point though where you say, we're not gonna write any more tickets, see you in court. And that's when it then goes to court. And, we have to get an attorney to help represent us. and so-
okay.
Would a violation bureau be exclusive to blight, or would it be more
Violations
general?
Bureau it covers all police ordinances.
all of the infractions.
One other thing I noticed on here, it says roads, for definition of road. If you look at the state and the county ordinance, it must be seen from a county right of way, not here. It says any driveway considered even private. So that means you're gonna get into a catch-22 because every time somebody comes in their property and there's something behind somebody's barn, they're gonna start raising hell, and then you're obligated to go and do something because somebody's got something in their back 40.
Okay, so I should write that down as more
Clarification on the
questions.
road, because county, if you look at the county junk blight and the state, it says can be seen from a county, state, or city right of way. not neighboring properties. It has to be able to be seen from the right of way. And I think that might be a catch 22, because you might get these people that don't like behind somebody's garage, then you're gonna have everybody about everything that's in the back 40.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to go back to the lawyer and ask some stuff.
Yes.
Okay, but part of me wanted to say, let's at least adopt the changes he's made that tighten this up a little bit.
I'm not ready to do that.
Okay.
Rick?
I think when you had a star next to this at the beginning, but I think when anything new comes up, like an ordinance or something like that, it should not be voted on at the next board meeting, like if you were thinking, maybe we'll vote on it today. Because one, I would like to hear the board's comments on it and the public's comments on it. And the public hasn't had a chance just tonight to talk about it. So, and this ordinance, this blight ordinance was only put on the website, a couple of weeks ago or what?
This revision only a week ago.
Okay, a week ago, so that's not enough time, because I think if we want to do this, I think we ought to put it on the agenda for the following month. You know, by that time, we allow the public to look at the minutes that come from this meeting and comment on it if they want to. And then I want to hear what the board says today, I'm listening to. And whatever the board says to the public, I want to give that a week or two for me to think that over. So I'm not willing to vote on any ordinance right away.
And research it.
Is that
Okay,
the
so-
bylaws? Do you guys have that in the bylaws? Like a time frame?
No, we don't.
No, but I don't want something put on the website or something, or distributed a week ahead of time, and we're supposed to vote on it at the next township board meeting when the public doesn't know nothing about it. And I don't know what the board thinks about
Hi, guys.
the new ordinance. I want to hear what they think.
And nobody's forcing a vote.
No, I know,
We're just
but I think we ought to have a policy that we at least allow. We do something new like this, we do not approve it on the day it's presented to the board. We wait a month.
Well, yeah, and there are rules, that are state rules that say, if it's a brand new ordinance, then you have a hearing and it isn't published in the, you know, all that sort of stuff. It's an amendment where you're just tweaking an old one. You don't have to go through that public, timeline thing. But you're asking for it.
But I think we should.
You think we should, yes.
Like Phil said, research, because there's no research. There's nothing there.
And you did make a note that I like what Judy said, because I had to go find 2013-0101, and that feeds you to a different one. That feeds you to 03-10-2015. So
There
some,
needs to be
it
some
needs
sort
to
of,
be in.
not a fee schedule.
Got it. I agree. Okay.
This, and I mean, more black and white, and here's.
Well,
what
I've taken
happened.
down a bunch of stuff.
Good.
It's not unique to Crystal Lake Township. Today, I received this email from the MTA about the Blight Buster program that they're having. And our problem specifically, I mean, it really
And
makes
if,
makes it universal.
and if you're interested, I started collecting a lot. So I put something on the communication board, you know, that blog.
Uh-huh.
And I said, if you're willing to share your, if you're, willing to share yours, so I've got about 5. It's interesting to see the differences. One is, there's a difference in what they call it. Blight, junk, or is it just a general nuisance? So nuisance encompasses more than just junk.
Okay.
So, okay, so I am doing what?
You are making notes to give the attorney, and we're going to have more discussion, but I really don't want to drop this.
Okay, so we will, let's get something by June.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
If you
I will
can.
bring back stuff and I will communicate with you and try to get you
Okay.
to see some stuff
We'll
before
make
that.
an agenda with public input on it, and so the public knows ahead of time about if they have questions.
Yeah, well, I think that, the community has really pushed this by coming forward and saying, we've got blight situations and what are you guys doing about this?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we ought to have a public hearing on blight nuisance. Just to make sure we're listening to the people out there.
Okay,
We just have to set up a special meeting. about blight or nuisance, whatever you wanna call it. And let's just see if somebody has a great idea, we don't know about. 'Cause I don't think there's an easy answer to it, but we need to probably have it, get some more input from the public, and then we're probably gonna need to have the lawyer come up here almost in a way. I mean, to get something.
That or Zoom, yeah, yeah,
Get something done.
Because every site is different.
yeah, everything, something is different, and should we, what do you think? Have a public meeting?
I'd be game.
Okay, that's consensus, okay. I'll get back to you on that, yes, Greg?
I think when this came up 10 years ago, MTA advised us, and they're experts, and they can tell you exactly how to do it.
Okay, so
They have a
look
term.
up their stuff. Well, that'll be interesting. I didn't get that, so blight buster,
Light buster.
interesting. Okay, I think we're done with blight. Are we
For tonight.
for tonight? Okay, sounds good. Next thing on the, any updates on elections you want to share with us?
Just a couple. Just a second. The May 7th school millage election was uneventful. We only had 48 people walk in. But we had 267 absentee ballots. So 31% of the registered voters voted, and we're usually at 35, so we looked low this time. We're, of course, thinking about August, the state primary, and early voting starts on July 27th and goes for 9 days. And I encourage people to take advantage of the early voting time or vote by absentee. Because I think both of the elections, the primary and the general election, are gonna be busy.
Okay.
That way you can take time and vote the right way, no.
Okay.
Take time to study the issues and the candidates. And not be rushed by sitting here under the gun.
Any other questions for Judy? No. Thank you very much. IT, just a broadband map, the very thing that Karen brought up about people saying, hey, you're talking about a lot of this fiber band. Where do I fit in this? And so you worked hard to get this out of, yeah, the capital, Cherry Capital Connections people. This is just a black and white. There is one, I think, that's available in color on our website. There's one hanging on the bulletin board out in the hall, things like that. But I think, unfortunately, it really, Karen said, you know, this isn't moving real fast. So that's not so good, but anyway, that's the only thing about IT. The newsletter, you had a draft in your packet, and then since then, we put one in front of you for tonight's. So the one that came in your packet, that's black and white, you can kind of throw away. And the one that was sitting in front of you when you sat down, I don't know, there it is, that's color. And for some reason, yours, the logo came out black on yours. But that is the new draft, and you might want to make suggestions, not tonight, because you didn't have a chance to see the final. But if you could get back to Brian or myself before we go to print, we don't know, Joe, when do you go and print those tax forms?
I will,
What tax forms?
what tax forms? They are telling me like by June 17th, it will go.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Deadline?
Yes, we're hoping so. June
Okay.
17th.
Sounds good. Okay.
I think there's something in the newsletter that it might be appropriate would be the, you know, we talked about Linden, Vine and Broadway, that we got a letter from somebody that the road commission pushes gravel and debris up at the end of the road. And we need to maybe tell people who's responsible for that. And I have talked to some road commission people, and the road commission is supposed to clean that up. But they obviously, years go by and they don't. And I think we need to have in the newsletter is that if you're concerned about a dead end road with the road commission piling up gravel or debris at the end of the road, that's really the responsibility of the road commission to fix, but And they haven't been doing it, so I think it's important in the newsletter, we tell people they have to call the road commission and complain. And then maybe they'll do something, but.
I'm Kathy Wilkinson, I live off of Broadway, and basically what it is when they snow plow in the winter. Right to the lake, and that's where the buildup is. Now, usually at a certain time, and I'm not sure if it's time yet, they come and they clean it all out. And I don't know what the letter says or anything.
Well, I don't know, somebody was complaining it wasn't being done, I wanted to know if the township would do it. And I was gonna put in our newsletter that it's the responsibility of the road commission to clean it up at the end of every winter or whatever. And if they've been doing it, that's great. But
Yeah, I've been there for 9 years. and-
okay, well, then it's not an issue then, I guess.
Well, in the correspondence, she said that she had to rake and shovel, but the one hole was too big for her to.
And that's
tackle.
washout too, from the lake. On Broadway, it's washout.
And
Now,
as far as putting it in the newsletter, it's a little late.
Yeah,
Well, okay, but I just wanted, so everybody knows, if someone calls you about something like this, it's really, the road commission is responsible for the road and the right of way. So these are all, and we obviously don't have a maintenance person that's gonna go out and shovel gravel at the end of the road.
But the committee people should be aware of this so that, yeah, that you guys can go out there, look at it. Is it a problem? Is it get cleaned up? Talk to the neighbors and say, is this a odd year that they
you
didn't
know,
do it?
if you call them up and be really kind, they'll be right out, because I've done it before. And you just gotta be kind, you don't call up and be angry about it.
Well, I wish
I don't-
you should have sent a letter to us so we know that it's usually taken care of. I mean, this person was complaining.
I didn't know there was a complaint.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, but we don't know, I don't know what the deal is on the end of the road. I just assumed that this is probably a problem, and what do we do?
Yeah,
Well, you know, Karen was talking earlier about water. Plowing this debris, including the salt from the roads down to the lake, is not about water.
right.
That's gotta be modified. That's baloney, to be plowing stuff down to the water line. And the road commission needs to be informed of that.
Well, we got a road committee.
Yeah.
It's kind of jumping the gun, but yes, we'll bring that up again when we get to roads.
Well, and Brian suggested, and I agree with him, maybe we just put a blurb on the website since it can't go in the newsletter. Something to that effect.
Can I get this letter? Jesus.
So newsletter, you're okay with that? Minor tweaks if somebody comes back with some mistakes or something, okay. Planning and zoning is next. Do you have any verbal update for us, Tom?
Sure.
All right,
I finally got back from the attorneys, the Lakeview Drive ordinance, which I'm doing the final review of. And again, it looks like they just corrected what we gave them. We put together, the planning commission has put together final comments on the short-term rental ordinance, and we're sending that to the attorney to review that.
Tell them about the joint meeting. Meeting in July.
We're still reviewing the special, I'm still reviewing and preparing the staff report on the Camp Nearby special land use permit application. And we're looking at a public hearing for that sometime in possibly July. And we have one Board of Zoning Appeals matter that's been scheduled for May 30th. Involves a property on South Shore. The information has been posted on the website. And as of this date, we have 18 zoning permit applications. Oh, that's the update.
All right, I think we lost Dave. The last thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask if you're gonna vote tonight about his appointment.
Yes. So I just, I have a resolution that I'll hand you. You don't have it in your packet, but, because we have members of the planning commission and, they must be qualified electors and we, get our members of the planning commission by, listening to the recommendations of the planning commission, but I'm the one who actually by law nominates them, and you by law, we all vote on them. So therefore, let it be resolved that Supervisor Ferris recommends and Crystal Lake Township Board hereby appoints David Spraggins to a term effective starting today through June 1st of 2027. I'm so moved. Do we have a,
I'll second that.
okay,
He's taking Pashy's spot?
he is.
Yes.
Who will be missed? He was a contributor, unbelievable.
Yeah,
contributor.
excellent. So you want to call roll there?
Ferris,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Northwood,
Yes.
Marble,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
Thank you. Any more for the planning commission?
Oh, I'm real happy that you appointed David and, he's got great experience, you know, he was an attorney and he has worked with zoning and planning issues. Our meeting is tomorrow night. And one other thing, I believe we have scheduled, with the planning commission, a joint meeting with the board and the planning commission for our meeting date in July. And I will confirm that for you.
Okay, so we need to.
Remember, but.
Now I remember, when you say that, I remember.
You better get together with me on that, so we get that on the agenda in July.
Fourth Wednesday of July.
Okay, the next thing, policy and procedures is a much longer, let me see, what do I have here?
And compounding.
It's maybe I put this under, no, I don't know what I did. The sale of unneeded township property policy.
Sale or disposal, not necessarily selling.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I just went through, got a lot of official wording, this could be anything from getting rid of an old desk to getting rid of a parcel of land.
Okay.
It has to be deemed, you know, you have to figure out what it's worth. Either officially, or if you're talking about an old table, like in a garage sale, it would be similar for us. We just like, oh, can we just get rid of this? Or offer it for $5 or somebody. But the long and short of all this is that, the legal term is with consideration. If we decide to sell or give away or throw away anything, that with consideration, you know, if it's no longer needed by public purposes and so forth, lease or donation of said property to another government or local township, to a nonprofit, whatever, that we can do that. That's what this policy is. And it's built into the policy and procedures manual that we've been trying to write and get completed for a long time. So this will be incorporated into that, but I thought in order to get moving on that lot 35 thing, we had to have this.
And I thought the wording was. What am I looking for? That it is, we can use our mind and go, okay, that filing cabinet is junk. It can go away.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't have to be a big vote. Remember when we cleaned the basement out? And I just wanted, yes. So
Yep.
I thought the wording gave us flexibility. That's what I was looking for.
So the last whereas also says that we can appoint somebody.
Okay.
And MTA said, for example, the supervisor, the superintendent, or the manager, well, we could appoint our buildings and grounds guy, and that's kind of what we did already for the pursuing the lot sale.
if Brian's willing to do it, I think he'd be very logical.
I'll just leave the basement.
Yeah, I think he'd be,
Well, this is a policy that's much more overarching. It'll be, 10 years from now, when we're not members of this board anymore, it's like they'll have the prerogative to appoint whoever
they want.
So I'm gonna move that. And do I have support?
Yes,
Van Meter, thank you. And any other discussion? Do you want to read this over again?
I did read it.
Did you have time to do that already?
Mhm.
All right. Any questions? Roll call when you're ready.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes. Marvel,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Ferris.
Yes. Thank you. That resolution is adopted. Now going to roads. Would you be responsible, please, for talking to Mrs. Bridges?
Well, yeah, I can do that, but I got a couple of things we need to vote on tonight. And one of them is that we need to, we might as well do it tonight, is to vote to renew the road millage in the November election. Because it is coming due and we probably ought to send it to the lawyer to make sure the language is appropriate.
Why don't you type up the resolution so we have it in front of us? That's what we all have to do so that we can have your wording. And then should we send it to the lawyer before we vote or
I
after?
think we should just vote. The plan is to put it on the November ballot now.
Yeah,
So we don't need to even send it to the lawyer. I mean, all we need, someone's gotta type up the thing where, well, I don't type, okay, so I can't do it.
well, find somebody that, that's one of our problems is that everybody is, we talked about this before, they're kind of responsible for their own. But you're the one who just said, and then send it to the lawyer, but now you're saying no?
No, I'm just saying that I think the board can vote to put it on the November ballot. And then we'll figure out how to get it on the ballot. So is another issue. Because someone, I'm not sure who, we have August 1st, 2019, someone typed all this up and we voted on it. It must have been a lawyer or
Wasn't me.
something.
I wasn't here yet.
Let me see it.
Yeah,
It was probably Sue.
Said Sue.
It's all I'm doing is editing this.
you're just editing it, that's all.
You write the edits and I'll do it.
Okay, but then, I'm just saying that it might not hurt. And, I mean,
Is that the
necessary to
resolution?
To send to the lawyer to approve it, but I don't think it's probably necessary. We just edit it right away.
Have the timeline.
There's a deadline to have it on.
Is that
I
a
don't know what
resolution?
the date is, but it has to be in.
Do you know the ballot?
Deadline.
July 30th.
Okay.
So you'll come back
scribble
in
what you
June?
Want changed and I'll fix it and get
Okay,
it.
but we should probably put it on the agenda for next month and we.
I'll put it on, yeah.
Okay,
So you edit, hand it to me, I'll fix it and it'll get done.
okay, and then,
And that's the resolution to put it on the ballot.
Yes.
So then we have to review the language of the,
So there's another document somewhere with ballot language. Okay.
I'm just saying,
and that should go to the attorney.
well, if you want to do it, but the point is, we have to start doing this now because November will be before we know it.
Okay. Got it.
And the last thing is that we still have, another 1 year left of the millage. And I'm not sure the board ever decided, what month do we decide how much to put on the tax bill this November?
Well, we would have to finalize that by, the 30th of September.
Okay, because we still have that last year we have to decide, and we can do a maximum of 1 mil, but we could do less if we don't need the money, and we have close to $400,000 in that account right now, so I'm just suggesting that at which meeting should we vote on that? We put it on the agenda then.
Well, you're talking about the road or the general
No, I'm talking-
township tax?
No, I'm talking, no. We approved in 2019 up to 1 mil for 5 years. The 5th year is 2024.
So you're wondering if we renew it?
No, not if we renew it. But we have to decide how much we're gonna tell the county to charge everybody in November when they send out the tax bill at the end of the year. Because it's already been approved in 2019 for 5 years. So we have to decide, do we want to charge the full 1 mil? Or do we want to go like a quarter of a mil or something?
Okay, so that will be by, September thirtieth that we need to officially submit
Okay,
that.
That's the date. I wasn't sure what the date is that we have to notify the county how much to put on the tax.
Right,
bill.
which means that we vote on it and decide all that well before that.
Yes, we have to vote on it.
Am I wrong?
No, I'm asking a question.
Okay,
So, yes, that has to be submitted September thirtieth, but don't we need to know that figure for the ballot language that's due July thirtieth?
No, this is not a renewal. This has already been approved.
But I just thought, I guess I misunderstood. I thought you said that we could adjust the millage rate.
Yes, every year we've decided to do 1 mil every year, but we don't have to do a mil, I'm saying. You know, we could do half a mil or a quarter of a mil. All we gotta do is let the county know what we want to put on the tax bill.
can I try to explain it?
Yes,
We've
please.
already done the ballot language, and it says that we can tax for the next 5 years up to 1 mil.
Okay,
And so it's not a matter of reapproving it for the ballot. It's us telling the county, this year, we're going to charge 0.75.
on the L 4029.
Yeah, or we're gonna charge
Yeah, it's on that,
0.25.
it's on that L 4029 form or whatever. Every year we have to do that.
Right, so we decide that, but that isn't a ballot question.
So the ballot language will include the up to 1 mil? I mean, what it
I
was
think that's
before.
already in there, so.
It's already in there and then.
It sounds like maybe what he submitted isn't necessary. I'm not really sure. I don't know what he's got.
okay,
So
we'll look at it.
We're renewing it? Is that what we're doing?
at this point,
Let me
no,
see this.
it sounds like he says not.
Sorry,
It sounds to me like the rate was 1 mil the last 4 years.
Yes.
And this being the last year, you have an option to lower it, which, I mean, to me, kind of sounds like a break to.
Yeah, I think we should
Everybody
lower
paying
because we
taxes.
got $400,000 in there. We don't
Because
need.
over the last 4 years,
And
you've
second,
been able
actually,
to improve. some.
Yeah, there's two questions.
Yeah, and I think you're getting mixed up. The first thing you were talking about was the road millage and the
Yes,
language, and I think maybe that's what you're getting mixed up is. The first item was about the road millage that will go on the ballot.
For 2025.
Right, and then the second is just this rate of the millage for this year that's already approved. It's not going to final fifth year.
yeah, exactly.
but is there a rate within the ballot language?
Up to.
It changes every year, but for the last 4 years, you guys.
It's a full mill.
Are you talking about for the July
Okay.
ballot language?
Yeah.
What you're asking is, do you wanna try and utilize the same rate flexibility for 2025? Or do you want to lower it?
So
And that-
basically, are we just
Repeating the
redoing
same
what we put in place 5 years ago?
Yes,
That's what I'm.
Yes.
That's question number one.
That's a great.
But question number two is, what rate do you want to let the county know to charge for this year? that
Yes.
was-
That part I understand now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's September 30th.
For the first.
But I wanna know July 30th, what we're supposed to have ready. That's because,
I don't think that we're renewing it next year. I think that's a year from now.
That millage thing, that resolution, that has to be ready by July 30.
And it sounds like there's not a whole lot of edits that are gonna happen
No.
to that 2019, if you wanna keep the flexibility up to 1 mil for 2025 moving forward for 4 years. But if you wanna change that
He
figure,
wants to give us a. break.
July 30th.
Yeah, well, up to 1 mil means you could do a tenth of a mil.
Yeah.
But in past years, we've always just done a mil because we were doing a lot of roads. Everything's done now. We've sealed, cracked everything. The roads are all
Thank
asphalted.
you.
We don't
He's
need
gotta
it.
give us a break.
He's admitting enough.
First,
Yeah.
we're doing ballot language.
So your recommendation is
Reason. Welcome
less
back from
than that,
vacation.
leave
Yes,
language
thank you,
up to
Doc.
1 ballot for this year.
The ballots for.
the L 4029.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Okay,
Old business, you have a blank page in front of you that has to do with the priorities. I've asked you guys several times for priorities, haven't gotten anything submitted to me. Should I tell you what I jotted down?
I jotted,
Okay, you wanna go first?
blight, steps, and not to drop the ball.
So blight would be a number one priority for this year. Thank you, I think so. I think determining our place with the airport is another big issue, to get that done. I think we make a more concerted effort to get election workers. If there's, you know, a new generation, a new batch, that make it, it's just our priority, that we should advertise more with the young people.
We have 26 election workers in our pool now.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yes,
Got
that's,
a lot.
I can't have everybody working
Okay,
every election.
Okay, I thought we
because-
were.
No, we've got.
you got plenty in the
26.
herd?
Yes,
Okay,
and we have
So that's not a priority.
all right,
three young people.
3 out of 27.
Somebody under 60? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Let's qualify young.
Anybody younger than all of us?
Yeah.
2 under 25.
All right.
That's 18.
Super.
You can't offer depends as a bonus for them.
Yeah, no depends.
All right.
Under blight, do we want to establish a committee? Because we talked about Sue kind of heading up the committee, or maybe not, or somebody, but we definitely have a blight committee. That was one suggestion.
But I thought Tom said we needed to go stronger than a committee.
We do, but we still, for example, we have a committee for the cemetery.
Okay.
And it's built into our ordinance that if somebody disagrees with me or with the committee, they can come to the board.
Okay.
So it would be, that would be one of the options for a homeowner to say, we don't like what you're coming on our property telling us what to do, and then maybe a coterie of 5 of the.
But I thought you
You know.
took names last meeting.
I did, and I just wanted you to say that as part of the blight priority, to get the committee set up.
Get a committee set up. I think
Yeah.
that's a great idea, because I think personally, you needed a committee. I had us getting these ordinances rewritten. And I know, like, maybe you wanna have a discussion next month, that's just a discussion. But it would have been better to have a committee get together with the board and go over this and make the comparisons to other townships. Because there are some townships that have some pretty good, strong ordinances that say, hey, we warned you, either you clean it up, or we're gonna clean it up, or we're sending you the bill. And it's gonna be on your taxes. It's a real simple, that's not in our deed. Okay, you get one warning.
I think that, I think Tom left, but I think Matt Stefanski is wanting to be on it.
Yeah.
Josh, are you?
Josh wanted to be on it, yep.
Sure.
Squeeze
it in my schedule,
It could be your partner here.
The boss.
Sue.
You get back to me. Sue
Okay.
is interested in being on it.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Are you a blight person? No, I'm talking about the gentleman in the back.
That's Fred.
I'm concerned about it, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe.
and I've talked a little bit with Sue about it.
Right, yeah, you were, yes.
Okay, I think something's taking shape here.
I
Thank you.
think I got all the people that were on the list. That's good.
So I'll be talking to you.
Okay.
Okay, sounds
I think
good.
it's important.
And I also said, to get the policy and procedures manual finished and passed.
Okay. Oh,
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Okay,
we keep talking about whether or not we have appropriate facilities, either, apparently this isn't legal voting.
right.
It's not.
And so should we be enlarging this or starting a new, build a new building? And maybe we gotta make that decision prior to, investing in a whole new, heating and air conditioning system.
Interesting.
Well, I think we
You
can
need
still,
one
we
anyway.
keep this building for meetings, right, and for elections. The other building would be an office building. So we want to have a good heating and ventilation system in this building too.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you remove the offices here, it would work for elections.
Except for the entrance and the exit.
Okay. Any other priorities? Nope. Rick, do you have any you want to add?
Here's
All right, and then, next we have the new meeting calendar.
I think this is me.
I think it is.
Me. Talk to people I included Karen, the commissioner, and our fire chief, and the third Tuesday is tough for them because they're doing Frankfort, then coming here. So we propose moving to the third Wednesday instead of Tuesday and moving it up to 6 instead of 7. I think 6, it still allows people that work to get here, but it gets us home before 9 o'clock at night. That was my proposal.
So therefore, that's what you're.
Therefore, the Crystal Lake Township Board regular board meetings will henceforth change to 6 p.m. on the third Wednesday of each month as the attached calendar indicates.
The calendar is on the back.
Moved by me.
Second?
You're moving it to Wednesdays too instead of Tuesdays.
That will really help Karen and Mike, who are chasing meetings.
I'll second.
And Brian.
And Brian's doing Benzie bus and trying to be here also.
Well, and it helps.
So I have a second from Van Meter.
Okay.
Discussion.
I think that 6 p.m., I mean, I think 7 p.m. is a better time for people who are working that don't really, they may have to work till maybe too much of a rush to get over here by 6. So I would rather leave it at 7 myself, but that's up to where you guys vote for. But the Wednesday thing is fine with me.
Okay.
And I would move it to the second Wednesday. I just don't see why we're doing all of the previous month's business 3 weeks later. I'd rather do it only 2 weeks later.
I don't know enough about it yet to know whether second or third.
Another one of my concerns is that we don't just keep moving it. We need to make it so that the public knows what it is now and it stays that way for a while.
Well, I think you probably shouldn't make a decision tonight then.
Well, this has been brewing for a while. You would prefer 7, and I would prefer the second Wednesday, but what do the other 3 think?
Jude?
I still prefer the third Wednesday, and 6 or 7 is fine. I get out of work by 5 or 5:30.
We just hated going home later. We like the 6, just moving it up.
Well, especially in the winter.
Yeah, it just, we work all day and then just trying to end our day sooner.
Do I have a second?
I already did.
Oh, you did?
Jill, and you moved it, so
I
you
did.
agree with the wording.
I do.
So,
Any idea?
I don't have a preference.
Okay.
Okay.
well, you have a motion and a second, so what is the motion? I don't.
The motion is that we move it to the third Wednesday,
Wednesday at 6.
6. That was the motion, and it was supported by Judy. I'd tweak it if it were me, you'd tweak it if it were you, but that's what the motion said.
Need to vote.
No matter when you put it, you're not gonna confuse
You
everybody.
ready?
Everyone's.
Yeah, if there's no more discussion. Take roll.
Marvel,
Yes.
Nielsen,
No.
Northway.
Can I abstain?
No.
Well, I tried that my first meeting. Didn't work.
Yes.
Ferris,
I'm gonna say yes, I guess.
What's your?
Van Meter, yes.
All right, that passes. And then there's one last, payroll outsourcing. Did you were you gonna propose something?
Are you gonna do this?
I can do this. We, the township, have been doing our own payroll. The liability for doing the tax part of it. We found out that QuickBooks, we're not sure how long it had been functioning without the tax portion being updated for payroll. We found that out recently. So we have done, Amy's done most of the research. This is the 3rd time this has been visited by the board. You got new prices. We also found out that we are paying QuickBooks a yearly fee and we are paying them between $90 and $120 a month on top of what we pay them yearly, which is like $564. So Brian did some number crunching, and outsourcing takes the liability off us. And we're sure we're meeting all of the requirements. And it's not something that has to be forever, but I really, really think we should give it a try.
And it's not a statutory duty.
Well, we don't have a resolution or anything?
Yeah, we do. We have a resolution
Okay.
where, I mean, I don't want to read the whole thing, but it says
So therefore,
there,
I would also point out the advantage that at the year end, preparation for taxes, it's cleaner and it's
everything's done
airtight.
and it's done professionally,
Yeah.
not that we're not professional.
Yeah.
But the liability of doing the payroll taxes, anyway, now therefore be it resolved that Crystal Lake Township Board agrees to the outsourced payroll processing to a licensed insured payroll processing service at a cost not to exceed $3,000 annually. I so move.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Any further discussion? And are we leaving it then to, the two money people to decide which?
Yeah,
who
we
you're
talked, you
hiring?
know, that Tim Taft came in and then you looked at another company and I think we just need to talk through it.
Should we add that to the statement?
That it, because again, it's, if this is the outsourcing from here to eternity, it would be,
The treasurer.
the new administration, are they gonna, whose job is it to hire this person? And should we say that it's between the two? I would add that.
That it's between the two of us.
Yes.
A mutual decision between the clerk and the treasurer.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Better fight to the death.
Yes. No, we won't be.
And so you agree to the amendment
I
to your
agree to
original
the
motion?
amendment.
And you agree to it, amended
Mhm.
duty? Okay.
That does make it clearer.
Any further discussion? Roll call when you have it ready.
Ferris,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes. Marble,
Yes.
Good, and then we had a late addition, and it, I'm not sure I did add this to the amendment, but it, has to do with Abby, and so it's,
Oh, she waited all this
I
time.
know, and now I don't know what I did with it. It's like I just had it, where do I lose these things? Ellsworth appointment to the environmental committee.
Committee of one, if anybody wants to join, anybody?
what does
She's
the
gonna-
environmental committee?
It's
do?
the environment committee, and my therefore says that Supervisor Ferris recommends and Crystal Lake Township Board hereby appoints Abby Ellsworth to form and spearhead an environment committee on the behalf of health, safety, and welfare of township encompassing water, land, and air issues facing our community.
Sounds like a big job.
So I'm already recruiting other
Okay.
members.
That's what, so you're spearheading this, and that's what I so moved. Do I have a second?
I second it.
All right.
Can I,
Call my husband.
you want me to do that?
Oh, sure. I don't know, I must have started to write stuff in there and we haven't voted on it yet. I don't know why I did that.
All right, so,
Moved by Amy.
and Jill. Okay. Nielsen,
Yes.
Northway,
Yes.
Marble,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes. Ferris,
Yes. Public comment, anyone? You waited, it's been another 2-hour meeting. I'm sorry about that.
I want Sue's idea on what we should do with payroll. This is,
Well, I was just suggesting, I know the outreach, the outsourcing is outside the county. But have you, I was just going to say, suggest to one of the CPAs, they also have payroll management.
We got some, we did get some, estimates,
Yeah.
local CPAs,
Right.
and they were way much higher.
Really? Did they?
Yeah, I can show you the figures if you want.
All right, because I know mine, that's what I do, and she does a fantastic job, and I get my quarterlies, my monthlies, everything's taken care of.
Well, we did not select somebody, so these two may be
I'd
calling you.
like to know who you,
Right.
I'll write myself a note to find out who you're
Yeah,
working.
because I just find, and I, this is, again, keeping it local if we can, and it just much nicer, at least I try mine.
That's nice. We try to do local, so. Any other public comment at this time? Greg?
I'm glad to see new people coming to the township. We really need help. And I applaud you all for giving it a try. Thank you.
People.
Sure.
Well, I was gonna tell Brian back there, but he's hiding, the cleanup, I think it went pretty good overall.
Oh, cleanup was
day.
great.
I mean, we moved through, considering how many people were jammed up there at the get-go. it scooted right through pretty dang quick.
There was no backup on the street whatsoever.
No,
No.
and I mean, it went pretty slick. I mean, considering starting over, new location, new everything from scratch.
And Sandra and I were very happy when the truck moved and the killdeer nest was
Yeah,
still
the
there.
bird's nest.
It was important.
Oh.
She was having a heart attack.
She was.
It was very sad.
But I personally, I think it went overall pretty slick. I mean, there's a couple things for August or whatever to tweak, but overall, location stuff, I think worked out really good. We had one guy that was basically a dipwad, got out of the truck, and first thing he said was, why the hell ain't this at the airport? This is just stupid down here. This isn't even in the township. And I
We're
mean,
only accepting positive responses.
well, that's the only one, well, I'm saying, it's the only one I heard that really, other than that, everyone thought it was.
I think it went very smoothly in the hands to the people who run it. That's, you guys did a great
I
job.
would do it again. It was fun.
Having just heard that, I didn't attend it, but one thing I am curious about August, you say a couple weeks, but I imagine August will be much busier down there just because the.
The late people are back, yeah.
People, hopefully that won't cause issues with the traffic, but.
We'll have it under control.
Well, what it is when you come off of Forest 22, we had to set it multiple lanes, so we had to stack, we still had room to run another whole 2 or 3 lanes.
Okay, thanks, sounds good. Any other public comment?
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Public comment? Okay, board comment?
Sandra, are we all set with Iron Man?
Once the corrected minutes are done that got approved here, they get sent to the state.
What,
That's what they're waiting for.
are they,
They're the minutes that were approved tonight.
That didn't need any corrections.
Yeah, yeah.
Take the draft off and we'll
I
send it into the.
I didn't
state.
see anything tonight.
Don't read.
It was in the minutes of the last meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's.
so they
approved
needed
tonight.
those approved minutes.
Oh, and so.
You guys approved them tonight,
Okay,
so then they'll get sent to the state.
okay.
And it does look like I skipped that under new business. Ragnar is the name of a different race that most
Yeah.
people don't know about. But that comes through here every September as well. But nobody ever,
Yeah, I have that shirt. I almost wore it.
really.
Is it bicycle? He didn't.
I think it's running. Yeah.
Okay.
They usually go Muskegon to Traverse City. This year they're doing Traverse City to Muskegon.
We're gonna run.
Any other board comment? I'll take your advice. Do I bring up my problem?
I think the public should know about what has happened to you.
I do too.
You need support.
And I don't know if if everybody knows this, but on, early Saturday morning, our house was attacked. My husband and I, and they, threw rocks through windows. And, our whole side of our house is needing redoing. So, it was quite a ordeal.
Cameras and shotguns takes care of a lot of things quick.
It was-
Backhoe if you need it.
It's traumatic and it is uncalled for under any circumstance.
Without going into it. Kids or
No.
adult
Not as
vendetta?
far as these rocks, but.
No, not as far as these projected through a 25-foot room and hit her laundry door and busted it.
Oh.
It went through doors, across the room.
Chairs, broke chairs.
Destroyed chairs. Went through another closet door that
I-
propelled.
I would suggest reading up on the stand your ground laws and where Michigan stands with it.
Get some cameras.
Cameras at the ears.
Anybody with cameras on South Shore, if they see a car going by,
Yeah.
That time of
kind
night.
of one. Would be interesting.
Yeah,
We're working with people, so.
and she's off the beaten path. This was not.
City's got right there, skate park right there. In that time of morning coming this way would be.
So I'm asking,
Yeah.
because I'm her advocate, if you hear anything, come forward with it. Somebody's gonna talk.
There's no.
Thank you.
There were messages on the wall.
Leroy, keep your ears open.
So, thank you. Any other? Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right, I think we're more than ready and,
Thank you
it's
all for
9:03. Thank you for coming. I'm so impressed with our.